That sinking feeling, you keep replaying the conversation in your head. Was it you? Were you being too sensitive? Or was it them? You're starting to wonder, am I dating a narcissist or someone who's just distant? It's a question that haunts so many. Figuring out the difference is crucial, not for labeling, but for self-preservation. Because, let's be honest, labels don't fix anything. You could diagnose them all day long, but the real question is, does this relationship work for you? Are you consistently feeling valued, respected, and heard? Do their words match their actions? If not, it almost doesn't matter what the underlying cause is. It's not about assigning blame. Imagine trying to build a house on a cracked foundation. No matter how beautiful the walls are, the structure is doomed. The same is true in relationships. Without kindness, trust, and genuine care, you'll never feel truly connected. Today, we're dissecting the nuances between narcissism and avoidant attachment, cutting through the confusion to help you understand the dynamics at play. First, let's acknowledge the similarities. Both avoidance and narcissists can appear self-centered, particularly after the initial honeymoon phase. At their core, they're often emotionally unavailable, struggling to form deep, meaningful connections. They might invalidate your feelings, dismiss your concerns, become defensive during conflict, or even resort to blaming you for everything. They're sensitive to criticism, stonewall you, and have little respect or empathy. You're overreacting. You're too emotional. Your feelings aren't my problem. These are phrases you might hear all too often. Apologies are rare, accountability is non-existent, and surface-level conversation is the norm. You may feel confused and feel like you are the only one trying. Initially, there's often intense love bombing, but that intimacy fades, leaving you feeling like you're carrying the entire relationship. This begs the question, why am I doing all the work? You start questioning yourself, your worth, and the very foundation of the relationship. So, are these people just terrible? It's easy to villainize them, but labeling them as evil doesn't solve your problems. While it's valid to acknowledge the pain they inflict, simply demonizing them won't help you get your needs met. In fact, anxiously attached partners often share similar issues, because the truth is, anxious and avoidant partners are just two sides of the same coin. They both fear intimacy and vulnerability, albeit in different ways. Anxious partners fear abandonment, leading to clingy and destructive behaviors. Avoidant partners fear rejection and loss of independence, causing them to self-sabotage and push people away. Think of it like this: one person's boundaries are too rigid, while the others are too porous. One relies solely on others for validation, while the other relies solely on themselves. They are in a conflict destined for a bad ending because neither knows how to navigate it in a healthy way. It is important to differentiate intent, the intent of someone with true narcissistic traits, and someone who is simply avoidant. The true narcissist has intent to control and manipulate. The true narcissist has intent to gain power in the relationship and dominate. They view themselves as superior to you and have an intent to shame you and coerce you and belittle you and demean you. The true narcissist lives a double life. They are one way to the public, and they treat you completely differently at home. No one would believe you if you told them the things they said or did to you. This is what differentiates them. On the other hand, it's understandable why you feel tricked in the beginning, because they were able to get close. They were able to be vulnerable and open up, but then pulled away and ghosted you. That is because they were afraid. They do not trust love. They want connection. They want to experience love with another person, but eventually their wiring starts screaming, "This isn't going to end well, get out." So they pull away and put their walls back up. The cycle repeats, but it is simply a defense mechanism, unlike the narcissist, who had a goal to manipulate you from the very beginning. They don't do it to hurt you, they do it to protect themselves. They feel vulnerable when they've opened themselves up to being hurt. It terrifies them that you've exposed their hearts, and that means you have the power to hurt them, even when you say you would never do that. The best way to describe it is that people can't be trusted, so they pull away, and it happens subconsciously. They'll move on and repeat the cycle because people tend to mix the terms up. It's not the same as the narcissist, who showed you affection, gifts, got you to be vulnerable about your fears and dreams, to use them against you later. Narcissists will thrive on conflict. They want you to become emotionally reactive to where you lash out, and they can tear you down and gaslight you into thinking you're abusing them. Avoidant people do not belittle you. Narcissists chip away at your self-worth and will diminish you during a fight, whereas someone who has an avoidant attachment will generally do it during conflict. 0723. Because narcissists want to use you to meet their need for admiration. The avoidant is hot and cold for needing space. The narcissist uses it to manipulate you. Because if you are normal, it is hard when someone breaks up with you. Everyone wants to be accepted and loved. It feels good to be chosen again when a narcissist accepts you back into their life. Someone who has avoidant attachment does not think they're the center of attention. To illustrate, let's consider the story of a woman named Emily, who struggled to understand her partner's behavior. One minute he'd be showering her with affection. The next, he'd be cold and distant, shutting down during any sign of conflict. It seemed cruel, calculated even. But eventually, Emily realized that his actions stemmed from a deep-seated fear of intimacy, not a desire to control her. The narcissist shuts down and gives the silent treatment to punish and control you. The true narcissist wants you to be there to serve their need for pleasure. So, they have turned off their empathy and emotional awareness because it didn't serve them. In many ways, avoidance and anxiously attached partners are living in survival mode. We want to meet our own needs when we are in fight or flight. Also, the narcissist will isolate you from friends and family. The avoidant is stonewalling and using the silent treatment during conflict because of a dysregulation of emotion. The narcissist uses it to control and punish you. And you are not going to get a lot of empathy from either. Someone who has an avoidant attachment does not benefit from turning it back on. It doesn't matter if we are dealing with an avoidant or a narcissist. The relationship is not going to work with either. You won't have trust or mutual respect or consideration. The best thing you can do is not change anyone. You can't do it. Someone wants to work at the relationship to make it work. If you have a history with that person or you are married, it only takes two to create a healthy relationship. There needs to be humility. There needs to be kindness and consideration, honesty and vulnerability. If they are not willing to admit they made a mistake, if they do not respect your boundaries, then it is not going to work. We need to build up or tear down, and there are too many people who aren't humble to ask how they unintentionally broke your trust. If you are in a relationship with someone with avoidant or narcissistic tendencies, the best thing you can do is heal. You tend to think you'd be fine if they did too, and that is a sign you need to heal. You have codependent tendencies or a trauma bond. We cannot feel shame. If you admit you are not good, there is no need to blame. I care about you and those with the tendencies. Sometimes we are in a trauma bond, and it feels like we are going to have a panic attack if we lose this person. So, look to someone else to validate your worth. You are looking to save them or heal them. You are terrified of them abandoning you, but you are abandoning yourself. Learning how to identify your needs, which is terrifying, only leads to disconnection. Love wants to serve you in a certain way, because you are used to inconsistent love. So, plug in with a counselor and get some good books. You want to connect with yourself. GANS has amazing resources, and Julie Manano is fantastic for our needs. Don't be interested in villainizing. Recognize that you want to be the best partner possible and not tolerate someone unintentionally hurting you. If you don't make boundaries or they won't accept your boundary, they don't love you and are not interested in a healthy relationship with you. You want to put this relationship toward disconnection, and if you have toxic traits, that does not make them a bad person but a bad partner. But you want to do everything to move towards safe directions. It takes 1 to change and 2 to connect. Work and start a healing journey. Risk the discomfort. Over-communicate on what conflict needs to look like. If it doesn't work, feel the feelings, but you will walk away knowing you did your part. So, you have to ask yourself, does this relationship leave you feeling empowered or drained? Are you consistently respected or dismissed? Are your needs being met or ignored? The answers to these questions, far more than any label, will guide you toward the path of self-respect and lasting happiness.